Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all kinds of things, positive reinforcement, trying to help people be motivated to live life to the fullest. As you can see, I'm pretty much sitting on the floor. I wanted a different background shot rather than seeing the wall or the curtain of my apartment here. Today's video, I basically want to talk about why it's important to speak your truth and not really care what other people think about it. Obviously if they share the same truth and loving the truth in this crazy upside down world we live in, which by the way, there's still a lot of beauty too. So don't ever dismay and think that there's nothing to behold here and value in life. I think it's absolutely, life is wonderful, okay? But we should hold on to our truths. And we know, if you're a new subscriber here, if you know and what's actually going on in the world. It's constant negativity on the news. Obviously mainstream media has an agenda to push. That's fine. If you can see past that, you'll be a one-up on the game. I don't want people to come and follow me on this channel who will automatically agree with me. I want everybody to, share opinions and exchange ideas. Okay. Obviously, I want a lot of like-minded souls to be following me on my channel. Of course, that is always welcome, like 100%, because I want to know that there's still a lot of sane people in this world. And I'm not afraid to say it, but over the course of the last 2.5 years, my mental health had been in question for sure. Despite what you think about the last 2.5 years or so, I personally was not in fear of any of the stuff that happened starting in early 2020. I was not afraid. My fear was that we would lose a lot of the things that we hold dear in society, in this world, that I've come to realize really don't exist, like your rights and your freedoms and things like that. We are born free. I don't care what these governments, what these big tech companies, what these pharmaceutical companies, any of these money-driven companies think. We are born free. In this world, every human being should be free. And unfortunately, that's not the case, because you have child exploitation, child labor problems in China, where kids are making all kinds of high-end brands to sell to the Western world. That's a whole other issue. But my thing is, I really do believe the last 2.5 years was not in vain for me. I was always sort of connected as to, what really could be behind the scenes, who's really controlling the world in which we live, okay? That was what inevitably kind of affected my mental health in a very negative way, was coming to the realization of certain truths, whether you share them or not, that's totally your choice. But I think for me, I was kind of realizing, holy crap, I mean, in the beginning of 2020, I had so much time to reflect, to think about what's going on, cherish things that you really didn't, that you took for granted, going to certain places, traveling, all kinds of stuff. And maybe this video is a little bit late, but I really didn't end up starting this channel until recently, so that's why I think it's important to talk about this. But the serious thing that was really damaging to my mental health was the fact that the realization of the real truths in this world, the amount of lies that are spread for reasons I won't get into in this video. Obviously, financial incentive and control, which is another major one. But I've really I did a lot of research over when I had the time in early 2020. Obviously, wasn't able to work all that much. I did end up working mostly through the last 2.5 years, or 2 years, I should say, the year first part of that, which really kind of is weird when they didn't want people to be going to work. Sorry if my eyes are squinty. It's just I'm facing right into the sunlight. I felt it's a good natural lighting, and I wanted to get some rays, some vitamin D. But I'm being frank in this channel because my channel is not going to have too many boundaries. I mostly want to talk about positivity, but I think it's important to share my experience as a human being in this realm, in this matrix we call Earth and the universe. But I think mental health was really something that was damaged throughout the world in 2020 and throughout last year as well, 2021. And it just seems like these institutes and governments and things that didn't give a rat's ass about the seriousness of mental health. They didn't even really care before all of this happened. I mean, I know there's certain laws, specifically in Canada where I'm from, that you're not allowed to like force people into institutions and getting help and things like that. It kind of has to be, they have to accept the help, which I understand that the person can't be held against their will and things like that, but we need to reevaluate how mental illness is treated, because the treatments that they have these days are really not effective at all. I think with my personal belief, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but my personal belief why mental illness is such an epidemic is the fact that, first of all, the stress that gets put on society, especially over the last 2.5 years, but even before that, constant work. People are like basically slaves in society, and constantly, the rat race, and like the list goes on and on. And the constant worry about things all the time, not being able to relax your mind, relax your body sufficiently, the lack of proper nutrition. One channel I follow, which is Dr. Bergman, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, but I've watched like countless videos of his, and he always preaches, these kind of disease and mental health and all mental illness and those types of things are all associated with chemical, environmental, environmental, chemical, and I forget the other one which he had, but you can go and check out his channel. But he has 3-pronged things associated with why mental illness occurs. I personally believe it's too much stress all at once. The human body can deal with stress, and it is normal. But when it's all at once, constantly, you're watching the crappy news that constantly feeds lies and negative stories, this can have a real detrimental effect on us as a human being. Small amounts of stress are good for us, okay? That's a normal thing, especially when you go exercise and things like that. Anyways, so that's some of the reasons I think a lot of people are dealing with mental illness as well, is that not proper nutrition, which means not getting the right fruits, vegetables, eating too much crap, junk food, especially in the Western world. The other thing is lack of exercise, or very minimal, not enough. You have to keep the body moving. Other things that I've read and seen and researched was that the more you're moving, the more your mind is able to, articulate and be deal with the stress, exercise, breathing fresh air. But back to what I was saying, and think about when you lock down all these people for large amounts of time, which was only supposed to be 2 weeks. Yeah, right. Which continually happens, still happening in China. I'm not as surprised it's happening in China because it's China and they really have no rights. It's almost like North Korea, but soft version, where people are allowed to live their lives, work, and whatever. I think there's going to come to a point where Chinese people have had enough. I mean, you can only push a human being so far. But that's a story for another video. So I just came to do this video to talk about why you shouldn't care about speaking your truth. Besides being more awakened as to the nonsense that is really happening in the world, which would be another ways to say would be like red pilled. Okay, I was always relatively not as much awake as I am now, but pre-2020 I was somewhat aware of nonsense, but I wasn't fully vested in it. But it's hard to accept. It was hard to accept all of that, especially in a small period of time. But I believe we can take back how we're supposed to be living on this planet. I believe the more people that will awaken, will turn the tide on this. Because I think if we don't do this, I'm not even like trying to sound the alarm button. This is just what I personally think. We're going to end up like China. Whether it's the exact same, I have no idea. But we're going to end up in a high security and, for your safety type of society. I don't want that. There's no such thing as 100% safety and security in life. Like, life is a risk. Every single day you step outside, every day you go to work or whatever, it's a damn risk. Okay? The other thing I'll mention, which ties into this, is a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, in Canada, they had a massive internet and service disruption. Okay? Which left millions of people without access to the internet and phone services. Okay, so you know what that means. No one can go online, no one can access their bank accounts, no one can access anything that has to do with the system. Okay, and these days the average Canadian does not walk around with cash. Everyone uses plastic cards, which is extreme negligence on their behalf, in my opinion. I'm not against having online payments and doing things via the internet. I'm really not against that. What I'm against is if it goes full on only digital only. I think that's going to be a terrible disaster, and it's going to cause irreparable amount of damage to in 3 days, for example. It was out for 3 or 4 days, I believe, in Canada, most of the country, if not the whole country, and it was only one or two networks, I think, so it wasn't every single person affected, but that was a few days, and it costs small businesses, all kinds of businesses, money, because most people can only pay with card or whatever, and a lot of these businesses are connected with this network. So that's a huge disruption. People weren't able to buy groceries, people weren't able to most importantly, call for emergency vehicles or emergency services like fire department or police services or ambulance. They couldn't even. There was no real backup system to it. This is a terrible mistake, in my opinion, if we go full on digital and get rid of physical money like cash or whatever. Complete and utter disasters could happen if that was to be the case. So I urge people to use cash, at least have cash on you, whatever. Just try to have a balance. That's personally what I do. I don't know if this country, Brazil, will ever fully get rid of cash because there's so many like small little, kiosks and things like that don't deal with cards still. And I'm hoping it doesn't. I hope that never happens. But this is just, a wake-up call. That should be a wake-up call for people who weren't able to access services, weren't able to do transactions. Like one day even is a lot because so many thousands of transactions happen in one day. So if we go that road, it's going to be a problem. Now, I'm glad that I was red-pilled, okay, and awakened to the fact that not everything is as it seems. And I would proclaim myself as a truth seeker at this point. Now, I'm not going to dedicate my channels strictly for that, but I will once in a while talk about the nonsense that's going on in the world. As you guys can plainly see, it's in plain sight now. It's not even hidden anymore. Like I will talk about the World Economic Forum and these types of nonsensical organizations that are trying to, instill a agenda that will help humanity. So specifically, if you want to help humanity, this is specifically for those idiots and those billionaires and trillionaires or whatever. Use your funds to fix problems in third world countries. Not to, obviously everywhere. We want to fix all of these problems, but they don't do that. Okay? I will get into depth in another video about this, but like they try to get people the everyday person to donate money to a charity and this and that, which I'm not against charities, but damn, these corporations, these moguls and whatever, have billions. To give a small little example, I saw a video of a guy, a Canadian guy who's currently in Haiti, and there's gang wars going on. There's people who don't have access to clean water. They don't have access to proper food and nutrition. And unfortunately, because of the gang wars, they can't get the humanitarian aid that a lot of countries generally send to, which I personally think is not enough. But that isn't even getting to the country. So I'm not going to talk and ramble on in this video about these things. I'll do another video about how we can help people in third world countries and try to eradicate this violent, nonsensical, non-worthy of being a human violence and just injustices that's going on around the world, to become a better world. Okay, me personally, I don't know if a lot of you guys watch Star Trek, but I want to see that kind of future. Obviously, the technology would be good, but I mean, where, and not communistic, but where we're in a society where we rid poverty, we rid famine, we rid all of these things. That's my personal message in this video. I want to see a better world. I want to see an earth where we work to better ourselves, to use a line from Star Trek. But it's not impossible. It's totally attainable. Just that, unfortunately, in this world we have greed, lots of anger, lots of evil, and power-hungry organizations, people. I don't know. I'll do another video about that as well, or I'll do a specific video about that. But these are the types of people that are blocking the real advancement that we could make, the real change, positive change that we could have in this world. So I'll leave you with a positive message. I believe in the human spirit. I believe most people are genuinely good people, and we can overcome a lot of this nonsense that's going on, a lot of the the lies that are being spread through, onto us. So I hope this video wasn't too long, but I hope you guys also enjoyed it. I just wanted to get that out there and basically speak on where I come from and why I decided to do my channel. I am a minimalist. I do think and say what I want. Obviously on this platform you have to be careful these days what you say, but I will talk more about these topics in real depth. But I believe you guys also believe the same that I do. So don't forget to hit that like button. Helps out at my channel. If it's your first time coming onto my channel, why not subscribe? I'm going to have plenty of videos. I'm going to continually upload. It's hard to do every day because I got a lot of different things going on and whatnot, but I take the most pleasure in doing these videos and talking to you guys directly. So leave comments below what you think, what you'd like to hear me talk about in other videos, suggestions, and I will do my best to facilitate those videos for you. So until the next time, guys, be well, be happy, and think positively. Take care. See you in the next one.